Today on the pod,
Cassadee Pope,
Grammy nominated,
lead singer of Hey Monday,
winner of The Voice.
I'm a Bravaholic and I'm a Virgo.
There it is. Was there a turning point for you? Was it The Voice? Was it at some point during Hey Monday where suddenly the finances work?
Well, it has not been a straight line, that's for sure. There's been, I've been financially stable a few times and financially in trouble a few times. I was actually really disheartened when I came back to the genre and seeing tours and festivals where it's like all men again, and I was just like, oh my god, it's the same.
Yeah.
I thought it would be different.
Yeah. Usually we're so much more put together. You're seeing us in a state of disarray.
I think this is impressive.
You know, we are out here without
cameras.
producer Jamie. We've got producer James instead.
Hot producer Jamie's in LA.
Yes, hot producer Jamie's in LA. So I just have set up a very DIY with 2 of my cameras and our iPhones.
Yeah.
Guys,
So
there's
we're
4 cameras total. This is legit.
Thank you.
We're
And a
out here.
softbox even.
Oh, I have that one.
That's a self-tape. That's a
self-tape
softbox.
guy right there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Are we rolling on the iPhones, bub?
Yes.
Okay, slay.
Hello and welcome back to Glass Slipping.
This is Glass Slipping with me, Keat, and that's Pete. And we have a very, very special guest today. Please, everyone, give a warm welcome and open your ears to Miss Cassadee Pope.
Hi.
We are
Hello,
so
ear holes.
lucky to have you today.
Thank you for having me.
I love that you texted me. Well, you thought that I changed my number.
Yeah,
when
it
you
came
texted
back
me.
green, and I was like, "Wow, did I say something when we were young?"
I imagine I blocked
I mean, I
you.
wasn't that drunk.
We
I
did
was
kiss on camera.
I want to see the footage.
Me too.
Where
we
is
did
it?
a press interview where Cassie was like behind what was happening in our interview, and I was like, Cassadee Pope, and she came up and we just kissed on the lips.
Yeah,
It
she
was beautiful.
taunted me. She goes, "Don't kiss me. This will come off on your mouth." I was like, "Let's see."
Let's
did
see
not.
if we do.
Yeah.
I was wearing like black lipstick, which my mom hated, but
Oh,
I liked.
Moms don't always know best.
They're not into
no
the black
shade.
lipstick, the piercings, all of that. Sometimes.
Oh shit.
Oh shit.
And you got your hair dyed.
Yeah.
Oh, she must be.
She's having a hard
Excited.
time. But you know what? She's getting with it. The longer it goes, the more I do. She's like, okay,
Okay,
great. Yeah.
You're wearing a cute little gray sweater, so that's
Yeah, I'm towing the line here.
you're balancing it
Yeah,
out.
thank
That's
you. I
good.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
So we're coming off of When We Were Young Fest about a
Yes.
week ago now.
Oh,
Was
it
it
feels
a
like
week ago?
yesterday.
It does truly feel like it happened
I'm
yesterday.
still tired.
How was it? How was the weekend?
It was really fun. I was blown away at the crowd that we had because we played at the same time as Fall Out Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. But I couldn't believe the reaction.
You guys
the
pulled
feedback.
a massive crowd.
I was so surprised.
It was awesome.
Thanks.
It made me cry.
I think you actually were the one to say, like, because I was saying, like, I'm kind of nervous. I don't think anyone's going to show up. And Keaton was the one who was like, well, you guys haven't played shows. So, like, everyone else has. And
Yeah.
I think it's more exclusive to
Yeah.
see you guys. So I think that's what it was.
And
you
it was
know?
just like, I think people got the feeling that it was kind of shitty that they put you at the same time as Fall Out Boy, or like you could hear like the sound bleed almost when it started, and I was like,
Yeah.
and then I saw your crowd and I was like, oh, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
They're all here to see you.
It was cool. I got emotional at the beginning because it definitely surprised me, and it like I've worked so hard since Hey Monday just to continue to be able to do this for a living, and so it meant a lot that somehow has like kept Hey Monday alive in some weird way.
Totally.
And so announcing that festival was just
I watched
insane.
you do, I think it was the Hot Topic interview, and you were
Yeah.
like, you said something like, there are young women in this scene that look up to me, which is crazy. Which
It's
is
crazy.
hilarious to me because I'm one of those women. So I'm
I
like,
still am not used to it.
I know it's probably so weird, but I'm at the same time, I'm like, and you were like, and we should put more women on festivals. You really hit that hard. And you were like, because, I was around in 2008, but some of these women weren't. And if I don't say something about this and I don't like put my foot down, then other people won't like feel like they can. And I just thought that was like really sick. I feel like,
Thank you.
yeah, of course.
I feel like when we are given an opportunity, like being added to the festival the day after the announcement, I feel like we are expected to just like shut up and say
Be
thank
grateful.
you.
Yeah.
And when I saw the times, I was like, well, clearly they and you don't have to say anything to this because you're still like up and coming. I'm don't
Don't
give a
worry,
fuck
I already
anymore.
did it last week. So
Oh,
on the
okay,
podcast,
great.
so don't worry. I already went for it.
It's almost like they were like, okay, let's throw some women on it just so we can appease everyone who's pissed, and then let's just like throw them in where the slots are still available. And so you guys were on at like you were the first slot, and then like it was like only all the women in the first like 2 hours of the festival, and then me at 9 p.m. and no women in the middle of the day at all. And so I just felt like it felt very tokenizing and felt like the bare minimum.
And it's a really hard thing too, because it's like, they want us to just sit back and be grateful, which of course we are grateful for that opportunity.
Yeah.
Always will be. But I said this to Peter. I was like, it's a really hard thing when you feel like there's such a problem that's so much bigger than just you, where it's like, it's not just about me and my set time. There's 10 other women out here that are getting shit on because of whatever the fuck is going on at the top. And the one thing that I will say, I think it's cool that the festival was receptive to the criticism in the first place.
I agree.
So I'm also like, that makes me feel empowered to be like, well, there's more we can do here.
Yeah.
And maybe they will listen to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, when I brought a bunch of women up for both of my sets, both nights when we were young did like a dedicated post for it.
That was
and
cool.
said like hashtag more women at when we were young or something like that. So I was like, okay,
That's
so
good.
They're taking it. They're taking it on the chin, and they know that they did the thing that they needed to do to appease everyone, but we need to take it a step further next year and make sure that the time slots are fair and
that they're built into like, I don't have any, obviously we're one of the smallest bands there. So it's like, I knew we were going to play first. It's not that. It's just the fact that all of the girls were first, where it's like Millionaires is like such an emo staple.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, if you don't know Millionaires,
Trailblazers.
yeah, I'm like, I don't know what you're doing. You know what I mean? So
but
I'm
I
like,
also think these festivals, like they need to realize the platform that they have for newer artists.
For
so
bringing
sure,
them up,
okay, you're on the smaller side in the grand scheme of things, but like I don't know, throughout the day, I remember I saw some bands that were small in the middle of the day that were male fronted. So like I think they also need to understand that they're giving such a huge opportunity to smaller artists, and while you did have a great crowd, thankfully. I remember last year, Games We played at like 11 a.m. and he was saying that people were still being let in the festival, and that's someone who could have really used that platform and that opportunity.
Totally.
So it's like you have the power to like literally catapult people's careers, and don't you want to be known for that?
Don't you want to do that?
I think it's really cool that you are leaning into speaking about it though too, because I think we talk about this a lot in that every instinct you're taught as an artist coming up is to kind of be docile to these people who are making decisions, is to not bite the hand that feeds you, to be grateful and accept the position. And that can be really demoralizing. On an artist level, it can be terrifying. Like so many people who haven't also been lucky enough to have like such a long and illustrious career in the business too don't feel like they have the ability to speak up or fight on it. So I think that is really awesome that you do that.
Thanks. Well, I hope that it does make people less scared to say anything, because I do think like the conversations that are had behind the scenes between these festivals and like agents for male fronted bands or male bands, like they're always under fire, like not just because of not booking enough women or whatever. It's like agents are always reaming these festival promoters for whatever reason. So it's not like these people aren't always being criticized, used to being criticized. And so it's just like, because we're women, and because, like you said, we have to just kind of say thank you to these opportunities. We don't say anything, but I'm hoping that this normalizes us. I'm not trying to get When We Were Young canceled at all. No, I'm just trying to have them be held accountable and hopefully see like that this was a success, adding all these women.
Massive.
Like I think it looked cooler, it sounded cooler, it added more diversity, fans were excited.
Yeah, you get a lot of young women at these festivals because they follow us, you know, and they want to be there and they feel represented by that, where they might feel nervous or weird about going when they know that they're not seeing themselves up there, you know what I mean, at all.
Well, I mean, the crowd that you guys pulled, even being a smaller band at the festival, was insane.
Crazy.
It was amazing.
It was amazing.
Like, it was amazing. It was like we felt so lucky to just be there. You know what I mean? The back half of that, which is hilarious, is the backlash on the internet afterwards, which is so shocking to me, which makes me crazy.
What?
It's just been crazy. People were like, why were you there? Who the fuck are you? You know, I know. It was just stupid people on the internet. But
do they not know how music works?
I don't know.
We talk about this a lot, where a lot of people who say shit on the internet have no concept of how anything works at all.
And they really think they do.
Google it.
Yeah,
Google
it.
why a small band is opening a festival. I think
they were
you'll
like,
find
they're not
that's
here
pretty
for you.
normal.
You're at 11 a.m. And I was like, girl, we're just happy to be here.
It's also, you're not saying, wow, like, look at all of our fans. It's
No,
like,
I'm just saying,
this
wow,
is fucking
this is awesome to get to play to this many people.
Yes. And
like,
you, by the way, did have fans there, so eat a dick.
You.
You know?
We literally keep being like, I wanted to start responding to them and be like, eat a dick, loser. Like, and like not take the fucking high road and just be like, fuck you.
I do want to feels good every once in a while.
Every
I'm not
once
gonna
in a
lie.
while, yeah.
I do want to take a second, because we haven't, since you went to our last episode, we talked about your expectations going in, just what that was like for you being on your first like
big
boy festival
big
bill.
boy festival.
And also like you guys had just released a song and there were people in the front row singing it. Like,
yeah, that was pretty crazy.
That's really,
it was really
cool.
So
and
cool.
we haven't had the chance to like celebrate the win.
It was
so
amazing. I think the thing that made me the most choked up and emotional was the way that the girls that were there, and even the girls that were in bands that came to watch, were just so unendingly supportive of each other, just like holding our hands through the whole thing, which was like just so crazy. James knows. When I was side stage for your set, I was like just tearing, just because like Tay and Jenna were there, and like it was just like, I don't know, that like little cultural moment of all of us being there together was like really, really special to me. And the support that we had from everybody, I was so scared. And when I saw that, I had seen on the side stage when I was coming up, all I could see was like the first 4 rows of the VIP, which was like a sectioned off part of it. I thought that was the whole crowd.
Oh.
And then I like walked up to the side and I saw the whole crowd and I was like, holy fuck.
They're here.
I was so nervous, but having the support of everybody there was like just so amazing. And the set was great. We like went off without a hitch, and it massively exceeded my expectations. I thought we were gonna be playing to like nobody, because everyone was gonna be like, who the hell are these girls? It's 11 a.m. We don't want to be up this early.
Well, and you said
no.
you'd never played a set even close to that early before, right?
I don't think so, no.
So what is that like, having to just wait
We
at
were-
10:45 in the morning?
I'm sure you know.
Oh, it's not fun.
Exhausted.
It's terrible.
I have never been more tired, I think, in my entire life. By the end of day one, I was like, if I sat down on the concrete right now, I would fall asleep.
I can't believe you stayed for my set even. I was
Dude,
like,
I
still
did
here?
emo night that night.
I don't know how you did it.
You did the night too, though, right?
I did night 2. And
Yeah.
I was, but that was like, okay, we're just like getting sleep down the drain, because this
Yeah,
is
at
the
this
second
point,
night.
it's
We're
like
fine.
whatever, yeah.
We're at home stretch.
No, yeah, we did emo night that night. So after your set, I went straight to emo night and played a DJ
I forgot
set.
about that.
It was whack.
Which didn't those sell out?
Yeah,
So
all women.
again, you dingus, get it together.
You dingus, get it together. No, it was all girls. A lot of us played all girls sets at emo night too. We did.
Oh yeah.
And like, yeah.
We even did some Celine Dion.
Oh, did you?
Oh yeah.
Did you end
We
with
were
Celine
pretty
Dion?
drunk by that point.
Was it you and Jess? You guys go together.
Yes.
That's so
And Chrissy
funny.
Costanza was supposed to be there, but she lost her voice, so she canceled. So it was just Jess and I. And we had
so
just
funny.
been on tour for a month and a half together, so we were like super silly.
Tay and Jenna's set, they ended with Mbop by Hanson.
See?
It was awesome.
You gotta think outside the box.
It was great. We like brought out Devin. We played Arrowhead.
I love
And
that.
Devin came out and sang it, and it was great. It was so much fun. I was truly the top 5 most tired I've ever been in my life, I think. And then we had to get up at like 6 and get ready to play a set.
Can I just say, the way that you guys though navigated all of it, and I saw you guys backstage quite a bit. Never once did I think, oh man, they seem like they are gonna. And it would be okay
Feel
if you
over.
were. Yeah, it would be okay if you were like
I
that.
appreciate that.
But it's you could just tell you're just grateful, and like you're
you.
just like enjoying yourselves and
It
not.
was so much fun.
Yeah.
I mean, more than
You
anything,
had fun.
it was just a blast. Like, you know, it was hard, but it was so fun. And like, we got to meet Pierce the Veil, which was like huge for us, obviously.
I saw that on your guys' Instagram.
We were like dying.
Yeah,
I kept having to go. I saw Vic like walking through. I mean, the same agent, but like we've never been like actually introduced.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, we're with Shapiro. So
Oh,
it's like
gosh, I
we
love
watched their set side stage the first night, but we just didn't get a chance to like introduce ourselves, and I saw him walking back, and I was like hyping myself up. I'm like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna go up and I'm gonna be like, what's up? I'm Keaton. I'm in Daisy Grenade. And I did it. I was so awkward. I was like, hi Vic, it's just so weird. My name is Keaton. I'm in Daisy Grenade. He was like, oh, he's like, I know you guys like love your King for a Day. Like this rocks. He said he bumps our version in the car.
Yes.
I was like,
yes, he
rocks.
does.
It was so crazy.
Oh.
I mean, I got to take a picture and stuff, and it was just like, oh, it was really fun. It was like it was a great weekend. It was great. That doesn't mean there aren't things to improve upon,
right?
But like, it was a really great weekend. I think it far exceeded my
Well, yeah,
expectations.
we talked about that last week, where it's you can be grateful and excited for everything an opportunity is, and still talk about it.
Yeah,
like
two things can be true at once.
Yes.
No system is perfect.
Yeah.
No, not at all. But yeah, no, it far exceeded my expectations. I think it was just like it was so big. I knew it was gonna be, but I think I just couldn't quite like.
You can't really like. I feel like until you go and you're like standing in the crowd, like looking at main stage from the crowd, it's or from the stage. But I got the vantage point from the crowd last year, and it was, I mean, nothing like I'd ever seen before. There's no end in sight.
Did you see the drone shot of the Fall Out Boy crowd?
Yeah.
Like I was like, that doesn't even make sense.
I know
how many people were there.
I know.
And I watched my chem from the crowd from the VIP. And it was also just insane. I like couldn't even fathom how many people were there. And I think outside is different than inside too. Obviously it's more people, but like because it just sprawls back so far, like on the floor basically.
Yeah.
You're just like versus like having people all the way like in an arena or something.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
a different. I feel like I feel a little bit like more stressed in an outdoor environment.
Why?
For some reason, because it feels like I lose my bearings.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, look around and there's just humans everywhere.
Yeah.
And instead of like an arena, you kind of know where like the front is and the back and the this and the that.
Yeah.
But it is just an incredible sight.
It really
that
is.
Festival, like when it's full,
It's just massive.
Those festival grounds are crazy.
They're huge.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was awesome. I had a wonderful, wonderful time.
Yay.
It was great. Yeah.
Yay.
Good. I'm glad
You wanted to put a bow on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I was
also,
nervy.
I just think for all the criticisms we can lob at it, it's still a huge moment for you guys in your career. And
huge.
Also, it was just like, even being here in New York and seeing the videos out in front of the crowd, like I was getting emotional. Like, I think that's fucking awesome.
That's sweet, Pete.
So it's just cool to still be able to celebrate that with.
Taylor called me crying because she was like, I can't believe I didn't book a flight. After she saw the video of us walking out, she was like, I fucked up so bad. I was like, it's okay. She was like, I can't believe I'm not there. It's very funny.
It's not going to be the last time
I hope
you do
not.
something like that.
Yeah.
It won't be.
Yeah.
It won't be. It's just the beginning.
How was it playing a Hey Monday set? Because you've been on tour like the last couple months doing your album, which is amazing, and I love it.
Thank you.
I really do love it. I bump it all the time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was really nostalgic, obviously.
Yeah.
It was definitely more sentimental having Alex there.
Angel. One of the but he's an angel.
Yeah, he's an angel, one of the original members of Hey Monday. And it just was heartwarming to see so many people singing along. I mean, I remember Hey Monday shows being crazy and people going nuts singing and everything, but these ones felt a bit more intense because I think it had been so long since people have heard these songs live. I play some Hey Monday songs in my sets.
Yeah, you do like Homecoming.
Yeah, I just throw them in because it's like part of who I am and why I'm here. But playing the album top to bottom, I haven't done that.
It was really sick.
With like a Hey Monday member, another Hey Monday member since the band was together.
Yeah.
So, well, actually, no, probably no. I think it was 2019. We did like a reunion in Nashville. So it's been like a little bit, but it felt really therapeutic.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did it feel kind of cathartic for you?
It was cathartic. I really liked performing them in this new way that I've been performing a bit less like running around losing my breath and more emoting and just like focusing on telling the story because of the fact that this album, I wrote these songs at the top of my range when I was 18
They
and
are
I'm 35 now.
Crazy high.
So I was like, we gotta just
What is
crazy
it like
high.
revisiting that? Because if you're writing them and you're effectively a kid and touring and doing all of that, like skyrocketing forward essentially, like what is that like revisiting that at a totally different point in your life? You now have done your solo career for so long. Like,
yeah, I mean, I feel like I I have more power behind my singing and like in a technical way. Like it's like I feel like I'm protecting my voice more when I sing now, whereas back in the day I was just like screaming, blowing it out. I lower some of the songs, which
it's the best thing to do.
I'm not ashamed of.
It's the best feeling in the world when you say, let's drop this a half
Let's
step.
drop it. I'm not trying to get surgery on my nose.
Trying to get crazy. No.
I'm not. I'm trying to do this forever.
I think that's iconic, honestly, and it's so empowering too when you're like, I can do it because I wrote it.
Yeah, and you know what?
down.
Transposing things in Ableton, it's like easy
peasy.
1, 2, 3, done.
Boop boop.
Yeah. So boop boop, exactly. So lowering things, and then just like singing these songs that I wrote when I was going through my first heartbreak or whatever. It's just like fun to sing now because I can think back on that and think of how far I've come, and just like I'm so proud of myself mentally for like what I've overcome. So singing the songs is definitely like I'm hearing my old self, but I'm performing them in my new mindset.
Yeah,
and it feels awesome.
I bet that feels really empowering.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, what I mean, I sort of know, but just for the viewer, as far as like your trajectory on your career, going from Hey Monday to going solo, like what, I know you've had many eras of your career, but kind of tell me like what that like looked like.
Yeah. So when Hey Monday started kind of fizzling out, it was because we got this new label president at Columbia. Our A&R had left, who was like our champion. Yeah. Columbia / Decadence.
Okay.
But Columbia were really the ones to like, they steered the ship, you know? So when we kind of lost our champions at the label started being like, would you ever go solo? And I was not ready to at the time. So I said,
how old were you when that happened?
I think I was like 20.
Damn.
So
or
still
like that.
a kid.
A child.
Still a child. And eventually we stopped getting like we would be booked a year out. Like it would be crazy. Our touring schedule was like nuts. And then that stopped happening.
What was that like doing just booked out, being that young? Like, did you ever hit like a point of burnout with all of that? Like,
yeah. I think,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think like every December I would just become insanely ill, and my body would just shut down, and I would be bedridden. It started to get
cold, you're like, your body's
yeah,
out.
I'm like, yeah. And I just wouldn't think of like my body would. I would just be like, this is normal. You're out for 3 months at a time. You come home for a couple weeks, go back out for 3 more months, and I just felt, and I wanted to be doing that. I was living in West Palm, and I love West Palm now, but at the time I was just like, get me out of here.
Yeah.
So I was happy to be on the road, but yeah, once that all started like chilling out, I was like, I just got so scared of being in a band for too long and losing out and being seen as like washed up or something. I just had this like crazy fear. I was only,
and you're like 20.
Yeah.
And you're
Wait,
still having that feeling.
When you say being washed up, you mean just as like a band that had made it and then
just like
washing out,
plateaued and like doesn't get any bigger or even like get smaller. Like I knew that we actually got out of the record deal. So that like, cause they were just not doing anything. They weren't helping us. It was not a good situation. So I ended up getting out of it. So everything together, it just felt like it was the right decision for me to leave the band. Cause I was just like, I don't want to be, I hate this term, but I'm trying to think of a better one. Beating a dead horse. I think it's so gross. But you know what I mean?
That is, I've never thought about how gross
so
that actually
gross.
is. Yeah, it's fascinating.
But like hitting something over the head too much.
Yeah, totally.
I just didn't want that to happen. So I was like, and it was totally a fear-based decision. It was also, to be candid, like I didn't have the best dynamic with the band at that point. There was a lot of resentment and a lot of like inner band turmoil. So I wasn't happy. I wasn't safe feeling. I wasn't comfortable.
It was
so
time to go.
It was time to go.
Yep.
And so I went to LA. It was a really, really tough time. I had a lot of like promises broken when I got to LA by like people in the industry.
Yeah.
So then when The Voice came along, it was just like the perfect timing. I had been there for probably a little under a year.
Yeah, we haven't talked about this yet, but for those at home, you won The Voice.
Yes.
Season 3.
Yeah. Back in my day.
2012.
When you were born.
When something like that comes along with like such its own audience, like you've built an audience, you built a fandom with Hey Monday.
Yeah, such a crazy
and
flop.
Then
that must
you
feel so weird.
win The Voice. Yeah. Like, do you think that was like a freeing thing, that it opened you up to your solo career, or is it now like you are the winner of The Voice, like making?
Yeah. So funny because I never see you like that. Like I know that about you, but I've always been like, hey, Monday.
You know what? And that's something that I've like come to just like accept. There's two different fan bases that I have, and it genuinely is too, because I feel like a lot of The Voice fans are country music fans too.
That's
so
so
it's just
interesting.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a similar demographic, you know. But I think yes, there is a pigeonholing thing that happens. Another weird term that happens when you're on one term. Why do I keep saying this shit?
I'm like, I guess that is weird.
That is weird. I gotta Google these. This thing that happens where they see you as like a reality singing, like a reality show singing competition show person. Yeah. So there's that, and that is sometimes challenging. And then I get like a bit more validated when I do hang out with people who are like, I see you as Hey Monday, because that's like where I really had such autonomy, and like I had my own music, and on the show obviously I sang covers. So but they were completely different fan bases. When I did country music for 10 years, there would be like a bit of the crossover where like Hey Monday fans would stick around, and I could tell. And it was just, I don't mean to like judge a book by its cover, but you can see emos. You can spot them,
especially at a country concert.
At a country concert, it's very,
you can tell.
Yeah, they stick out in a good way. So it's always been like kind of funny to me that I've been able to straddle that line a bit. And now that I'm back in pop rock and pop punk, it's like some of the country fans have fallen off. Obviously, I think they fell off before this when I started speaking out about social issues. But
I was gonna say that must be a really weird. I'm like, you go from one tough dynamic for women, like tough genre, to another really tough genre for women.
Well, and not to like circle back, but like I was actually really disheartened when I came back to the genre and like really just reconnected and got my ear to the ground. Another weird term. On like. And seeing tours and festivals where it's like all men again, and I was just like, oh my god, it's the same.
Yeah,
I thought it would be different.
Yeah,
and it's been.
You said that to me. I
long.
think when we talked about it, you're like, I can't believe this shit is still happening.
It's still happening, and so I feel like in pop punk and rock and anything but country, it's like I think you're not blacklisted when you talk about it. If anything, you're like more celebrated.
I said this to Pete last time. I said, I think because the genre celebrates individuality so much, and the whole idea behind the genre was like originally like a way of life and like standing up for things, and
like anarchy.
So I'm like, I do think that it's like I feel more empowered because of that, and I know that a lot of people will agree with me, especially the women. I'm like, for sure. So but I can imagine in country with that.
Country, when you say blacklisted, like what does that look like in practice? Like,
I think I don't know if I've been blacklisted per se, and I just mean like for me, there's certain people I won't work with in country music because of what they've said or what they believe in, or you know, songs they've put out that are really insensitive, or who they've worked with, who they've collaborated with. So it's just like
a minefield.
So I know I'm saying like, you know, you could get blacklisted when you speak out, and that goes both ways. And so I'm sure people do that with me. I'm sure me being outspoken about things makes the super conservative people who don't want to be associated with me not work with me. And I'm fine with that.
Literally same. I feel the same way where I'm like,
good.
If that's not your vibe, then not my vibe either.
Do you feel like that is a confidence you've always had, or that you had to build through your time? Like, how did you build that in the industry? Was that just I've reached a point in success where it doesn't matter anymore, at least on it, not matter, but where it doesn't bother me or worry me in the same way? Or how did you build that type of confidence up?
You know, it's so funny. I think I started speaking out when I was maybe the least successful in my career. I think when I hit those points where it was just like things weren't really happening the way I wanted them to, or there was a lull, it forced me to like really focus on my mental health and focus on like why I was spiraling. How do I not find such self-worth in my career and find it in myself? And that turned into learning about the world more, and just like getting more more knowledge on these subjects. And like when you get more knowledge and you educate yourself on these things, it gets harder to not say something.
The problems blare at you more.
And so you start to be like, oh, making this decision and saying yes to this means X, Y, and Z, and it could affect this thing negatively, and it could make me seem like I don't care, and I do care. So it just kind of felt like this snowball effect of like one thing after the other just like affected the next thing. So like, I don't know. I mean, I definitely, I think if I kept my mouth shut, if I stayed in country music, if I played the game more, maybe I would be more successful in country music, but it just wasn't like an option for me.
I always say this where I'm like, I feel a sense of personal freedom when I do say something about something that bothers me, or when I do speak out about something that I care about, even if I have fear around it.
Yeah.
But I feel so clear that it makes me feel so much better on a personal level to say something and maybe lose something because of it versus holding on to it, because I think it just ends up like rotting you.
I do too, especially when you have strong feelings about it. Some people, I mean, I'm not going to name any names, but some bands, they probably don't know what's going on in the world, and they are happy as a clam, and they don't piss anyone off, and they're successful, and that's fine too. But like, I think if if it's not for you, then it's like it does eat away at you. It does, you gotta let it out.
Especially like I said, like what you said, when you gain more knowledge about things, and then those problems blare at you, and you feel like, oh, I know all of this, and yet I'm not saying anything about it. It just kills. It kills me for sure. So I really get that.
Yeah, but I think country music obviously has its flaws, but like there are good people in it, and I didn't leave because like I'm speaking out and people are mad. I just wasn't listening to it anymore. I just didn't feel aligned with like.
I was gonna say, like, when you started in that country music, were you listening to a lot of country? Were you a country girl? Like,
I've always loved country music. I remember, I mean, I sang it as a kid. Like, I just grew up learning to sing on Martina McBride songs and Faith Hill. Yeah. So like, singers that belt. And so I felt like country music had that, and then it like obviously went through its different phases. But after the show, when I went to Nashville, Florida Georgia Line was blowing up, and they sounded like a country Nickelback, and the band Perry had If I Die Young crossing over to pop radio, and like Taylor was going pop, and by the way, all these people were on the label that I got signed to. So I was like, I'm going to Nashville. Something cool is going on there.
And so was that like a pretty natural jump? Like, how scary is that? One, just being you found a certain amount of success in a genre with a band, like with a certain kind of support. Was it how scary was it just the decision to actually go solo, then to switch genres? Was that was that empowered by the voice and being able to switch over and say like, oh, I found success in the genre on the show?
I think singing country songs on the show and winning on them was like, all right, well, I guess I think this is going to work. And then obviously Blake Shelton has such an amazing loyal fan base that they kind of just like stuck on me, which was cool. Yeah, he was my coach. Great coach. He wasn't even the one that like told me to go country. I just like started doing country songs and making them my own, and
he was like, hell
and I was like, this feels so good.
Yeah.
Oh no, I blanked on what you just asked me.
You're just saying, like, was it scary?
Yeah, just scary in switching the genre or even to go solo on that.
I think because I had a kind of a rough ending in rock music, not like anything crazy happened, but I just had a bad taste in my mouth.
Totally.
I felt like I just needed to start fresh in a new genre, and it felt like a new beginning. It felt like that old version of me was gone, and I just wanted to like be this new version, and I felt like I couldn't do that in rock. I knew that I needed to like move on from it. So country felt like a new beginning, and it felt good, and it was scary for sure, because I was like, I sang it as a kid, but I had just gotten off of singing all these rock songs on the show, and then I was in a rock band, so I was like, are people going to believe that I am country and I grew up singing it? So that part was scary.
Yeah.
But I was ready to move on from rock. I didn't have like the best taste in my mouth.
Well, and then obviously you have a 10-year career in country and now have found your way back into the pop punk world. Is that then coming back a familiar, exciting thing, or is that in itself scary too? I think it's really interesting how you've navigated different phases of your career and how malleable you've been. Because I feel like a lot of people either get pigeonholed and they stay there, or don't ever evolve. And it feels like you've gone through so many different evolutions.
Which is really a cool thing, because also that fear of being like, people are going to say I'm not this thing or whatever. Like, I feel that all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, those two genres specifically are people who are going to be like, you're not country.
Yeah.
You're not punk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
they couldn't, there's so many similarities, but there's so many differences too. I think this time switch was easier because I felt like I did everything I possibly could in country music. I felt like I worked really hard. I made all the right connections. I did all the right things. I felt like a lot of my songs were super country radio friendly and they didn't get played on the radio. And so I felt like I did everything I could. And then I also felt like genuinely I wasn't a fan of what was being played on the radio anyway. So I was like, why am I trying to cater to something I don't even enjoy? Like it's not my thing. And then I'm over here and hearing in pop music, guitars and pop music again. And I've always loved pop music. I've always loved a catchy melody. That's my sensibility as a songwriter. So I was just like, why don't I just go where my heart is telling me to go? And again, like, my mental health was in a good spot. I felt like I was ready to make that switch. I felt like grounded in it. And even now, like, you know, going back to when we were young, playing rock music feels so ingrained in me. And like, it feels like just performing it and not even taking into account writing or anything. Like, it feels like more me, because I do feel angst. I do feel empowered, and just like I want to kick a hole through the wall when I'm on stage. And like, it sucks when you feel like you have to contain that because the songs aren't matching your energy. So yeah, I felt really natural going back.
Did you feel like you were fighting up against that doing country?
Yeah, I mean, I remember the first time I walked out on stage on my first country tour. It was opening for Rascal Flatts.
Oh my god,
at Jones Beach.
Life is at Jones Beach.
Yeah,
iconic.
Yeah,
venue.
It was an amazing venue. But I went out there and I was like, what's up, Jones Beach? And I was like jumping, and like no one stood.
Girl, what are you
Everyone had their like little cups sitting in their chairs, and I was like, oh god. And so from then on out, I had to adjust to this new kind of way of interacting with the crowd. I had to kind of like, no one's gonna jump, no one's gonna, like, for me at least, like, I'm the opener, really, you know. So it was, the energy was different. I couldn't feel that closeness with the crowd I was used to playing. Like, even arenas were like closer than these amphitheaters. Like, it was like everyone's so far away. So it was an adjustment for sure. And I felt like the songs on my records in country music were definitely, and this is where my heart was at the time. I loved country radio. I wanted a hit. I wanted that If I Die Young. So I just, like, a lot of my songs were mid tempo and slower, and I was kind of known for singing ballads. So I had like a lot of ballads. And so I don't know. Now I think really long and hard about how everything translates live, but I wasn't during those, during those years.
I think it's so funny. Someone said this. I don't remember who it was. I think it was Maddie Healy said that pop punk or like punk and emo and country music are the same genre. Just one is, country music is I love this town and I want to stay here forever, and emo is I love this town but I can't wait to get out.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's very true.
That is
lyrically
true.
They actually like translate probably a lot, but the energy is so different.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of rock and country music, and I think the difference is, like, the rock and country music it's not like pop punk. It's not punk. It's almost like outlaw country is kind of what people think, or like Southern when I rock. Used to try and do pop punk country, they were like, oh, like Southern rock. I'm like, nope, very different. Very different. I'm a thing. But yeah, I do think that there's obviously similarities.
A lot of similarities, yeah. But the energy exchange with the audience too is so different. I can't imagine. And I like country. Like, I love like pop country. Like,
same.
I'm into like Maren Morris and Casey Musgraves, and like, and a lot of those people, like, I wouldn't even really call them country. I would call them like pop with like a little bit of a twang. You know what I mean? Like Maren Morris specifically, but like Casey Musgraves is country, I guess. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I get that feeling of just like, my heart isn't here. Why am I trying to like make this thing work or fit into a box that I'm not that I don't even want to fit into.
Yeah,
And, like,
I think
doing
when
all this work.
Yeah, when you're in something for, I was in it for 10 years. So like when you're in something for 10 years, it's kind of like a relationship. You're like, I can't just walk away. Like this is what I've put all my time and energy into for 10 years. I need to at least give it a shot, or try this or try that, try to make it work. And so when I did, and I tried the pop punk country thing, because I was like, well, maybe I just need to just do whatever the hell I want and not think about boundaries. And it didn't work. I realized the only reason I was staying in the genre was because of fear, because I was afraid to leave and throw away 10 years of really hard work and literally uprooting and moving to Nashville for it, you know?
Literally.
And so when you said that shift, both to country the first time and out of it, was that more a personal and where you were feeling as an artist decision, or a more like artist business brain decision of, especially talking about like you do a crossover and the is a mix of country and pop punk and you don't see as much of the success of it?
Yeah.
Is it the emotional side of you that then says, okay, we go fully into pop punk, or is it the business side, or is it some?
It's both.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely both, because I definitely had to pay attention to why is this not working. The algorithm saw me as a country artist for 10 years, and it was not gonna, let me get on those rock playlists. It was too country for rock. It was too rock for country. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I got to make a decision here. And I almost was relieved, to be honest. I was like, I kind of feel like I'm up against a wall in a really good way. And it's like, okay, like choose, because the universe is trying to tell you what to do and you are resisting so hard.
All you gotta do is listen to it. Yeah.
And you just listen. And so it was both for sure. And that's why it felt so right, is because like it was validating on both ends. It was validating emotionally, validating business wise. I will say, like, country music pays really well. The guarantees are higher. Everything is
Interesting.
it just pays better than rock. After I think like a certain level in rock, that's better money. But so
Do you see the resurgence too happening in the pop punk world already, or?
You know what is funny? The way that it coincided. So in 2020, I was already writing this pop punk country record, and that's when Machine Gun Kelly released his album.
Yeah.
And I literally had already started writing mine before that came out, and that to me was kind of the first like pop record that I saw that I was like, is pop punk going mainstream?
Yeah.
And so I actually felt like I was like along that trajectory at the same time. I was just, I guess, like I guess I wasn't, because I was starting to write for that. But
That's funny. It's like similar to us, where I was like, we didn't
Weird
really
timing.
see it happening. It just happened at the same time, sort of, where we hit it right on the money, but it wasn't like intentional.
Yeah. Yeah.
And love it or hate it, that Machine Gun Kelly album propelled the entire wave of emo music coming back.
Yeah, I think that Matt Cutshall with Emo's Not Dead.
Yep.
All of his skits, like Olivia Rodrigo.
Yes.
I mean,
huge.
Yeah, so like I feel like that stuff was happening in 2020 that I just like totally didn't see coming at all. So it was just, I was feeling really nostalgic in 2020, like everyone else probably.
I wonder if that's
And
what
I was
it
like-
was.
I was
Like,
going
maybe that
back and
might be
listening
it.
to stuff to make myself happy and remind myself like of where I come from.
Well, I think our generation and like the millennials, that generation was getting into their nostalgia while Gen Z was aging into
Angst
and ready to take on that type of music. And then like Olivia Rodrigo is the perfect vehicle for suddenly everyone from 12
when you
to
hear distorted guitars
17.
come back in pop music.
Yeah, and like
Okay.
and then anyone in their late 20s, their 30s, even their 40s is like, oh hell yeah, we're ready for this to come back.
Yeah, that's so
And
true.
So yeah,
And
it's-
everyone's angry because they've been inside for a year, and
Yeah,
it
it's
just
like,
hit right
let's-
at the right time.
Yeah, let's like listen to stuff that reminds us of like when things were simpler.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
So something we talk about, this is a little bit of a pivot, but something we talk about a lot on this podcast and where it came from is just like the financial realities of being an artist.
Yes.
And talking about like Daisy is doing massive shows now and on these really cool tours, but they still are not really in a financially viable place without a lot of buy-in from their team, a lot of people having to invest for what they think the band could be.
Yeah.
Was there a turning point for you? Was it The Voice? Was it at some point during Hey Monday where suddenly the finances worked and everything was hitting? Or like how long was that process for you in building like a financially viable base to your career?
Well, it has not been a straight line, that's for sure. There's been like, I've been financially stable a few times and financially in trouble a few times. I think the first time I was stable was when Hey Monday got signed and we got an advance. That was nice. And then literally like 2 years into our band, our big shot business manager like ran us into the ground and we didn't know it. So we were broke. And then, so I was not in a good place financially, like at the end of the band and then right before The Voice.
So when you say ran into the ground, is that just like mismanaging the band's finances, not
telling us that we have enough money for things and not, you can't afford this.
Got it.
So like we shouldn't have been in a bus as soon as we were. We shouldn't have brought out so much crew. Like we had techs and stuff with us like
so early.
And I mean, I don't even have techs now. Well, I'm like, I hire
I'm
musicians
in a van and trailer
too.
with a 6-person crew, like in total.
Yeah, that's good. Like honestly, just, it's not worth it. So this man was just, I'm not gonna say his name, but yeah, he just totally mismanaged our money, and we were kids, and
you don't know anything.
Well,
you're
that's
like 18.
Yeah,
don't know anything.
how would you know anything? Like you're so young.
And somebody says, "I got you. Don't worry."
Yeah. And especially when your job already is so strenuous, you're like on the road performing,
and you're a kid.
It cannot be your responsibility.
And there was
to have
also
to worry
like
about it.
so many other people involved too, like my managers and my A&R, and everybody was like had so many hands in everything that I felt like I was taken care of. I felt like and thankfully my mom is a business manager. She's a CPA, so she got involved. She has been doing my books since 2010.
Damn.
So
did she find out that this was all happening?
Yes, and she was like, "I got it. Let me take care of this."
That
and
is my dad shit for sure.
Yeah.
My dad would call and be like, "I'd like to see the book."
I love that so much.
But that's great to have that your parents were, or your mom was like fucking on it.
Yeah, because like it was just at that point we were like, well, we literally can't afford to do any of this, and so thankfully she got us back on our feet. So I before The Voice, not in a good place. The Voice, you win money when you win, so I was in a good spot for a while, and then it was like, I want to say 2017-ish. It was like, things were getting a little hairy again. And then 2019, I had an album do really well and got some really good gigs, and then things were great. 2020, not so great.
Yeah.
So it's just like.
So something like when the album does really well, what does that look like? Like, where is the money coming from? Live performances? Is it because I know streaming is. Like,
streaming's not great.
Nothing.
Not great.
Streaming's not great.
It feels like the death of album sales too over the past decade and a half has had such a major impact. Like what does it actually look like to be a successful artist, even just like financially viably?
I mean, I think we're getting away from labels, obviously. I think everybody thinks that. I went through STEM for my album in 2019 and saw a really amazing profit. So I do think there are ways to make money off your music. It's just hard to get there because you need money to make music, and if you don't have it, you're at the mercy of a distributor or a label who can finance it, and then you don't get that money when you release the album. So in that case, shows, tours, merch, brand deals
are huge.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, not even this, like if you can like write with other artists for their projects, that doesn't even really generate much income with royalties or anything like that. So I think, those things I just mentioned are like the game changers.
Diversifying as much as you can. Where it's like you have a hand in your social media. You've got a hand in maybe writing for pitch or writing for other people or like whatever. Is trying to like not just rely on the album streams, because that's not going to do it.
No, I mean, I think that like when people blow up on TikTok and they see all that money coming in is so great. But like when it's time to release your actual music and you're not seeing that income, it's like, oh, you gotta go on tour, you gotta play shows, and that's gonna be how you see it. But it's I guess you everybody's different. But for me, that's the way that I am able to pay the bills and be comfortable is like when I have not even tours anymore. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest, like touring is not super profitable when you're a direct support or opener, even when you're a headliner in a small scale. But like one-offs, like fairs, festivals, military dates, which are also just like they make you feel good to be able to do that for people. Those pay really well, and those are the things that keep you afloat. Yeah, that's why tours are so hard. It's like you wanna like get the exposure, you want to get in front of all these new fans.
Cost you so much
you
money.
lose so much money.
The overhead is insane.
It's insane, and those aren't your fans, so who knows if they're even going to buy your merch.
Who knows if it's even going to be worth it.
Yeah,
you don't know. You're just like rolling the dice on it.
Yeah,
and being like, all right, I'll spend $50,000 to go out here and see if I can maybe break even.
Yeah, and sometimes people do the pay to play, so like sometimes you don't even get the opportunity to tour because people have the money to pay for themselves to get on the tour, so you lose the spot,
Yeah.
Unless
and like we were just talking about this before we started too, like the tour support of it all, where it's like, if you're on a label, if like we're on a label because we don't have any money to tour ourselves, like if we didn't have tour support from a label, we wouldn't be able to tour at all. So it's like you're always kind of like in this catch-22 where you're like, okay, I'll take the hit here to see if I can roll the dice on maybe getting somewhere in this avenue.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, like just diversifying where you're getting money and anything that you can have on your own.
Yeah.
Where it's like your social media can be just you. You're pocketing anything you get from a brand deal.
Yeah.
You're pocketing anything you get from, whatever. If you can take your merch tips, or you can take whatever, any little like side little something that you can be like raking in money in any way is so important. And we were just saying, like, fans are getting with it now, where they're like, when they see you get it branded, they're like, grab that bag, queen. You know what I mean? Because they understand, because they pay so much money to go to shows now. Yeah. Because they have to be so much more expensive because the overhead for touring is so much more expensive.
Right.
Well, and the middlemen involved are pulling out any bit of money they can.
Oh, yeah.
We've said our piece about Ticketmaster before.
Yeah.
But just
my gosh, it's awful.
Any
it's
place they can extract money from it that
so
is
the
not
fans
actually the artist's experience.
Also seeing the effect that it has on them and understanding, I think, finally, that it has a huge effect on us as well. Yeah. So they're buying merch. They're like, doing whatever they can. We have a Depop that we like sell all of our tour stuff from, which has been awesome. Good. And like things like that, they want to help. They want to like do whatever, you know what I mean? So
yeah. And I feel like I always get questions like, when are you going to print more merch, or when are you going to print vinyl, which I finally did. But like, I hate like having to not tell them just straight up, it's expensive.
Can't afford it. Yeah.
Like it's just not a smart investment for me. Yeah.
Vinyl is crazy.
Vinyl, that was such a hard decision for me, and I'm so glad I did it because I went on a tour and I sold it all. Nice. But like still it was like,
you printed Hereditary on vinyl?
Yeah.
Nice.
The deluxe. And I signed them all.
That rocks.
That's awesome.
But it was still like I ate a few grand to get that done.
And they won't do them small batch either.
No.
So you have to buy like a shit.
No, and it's scary because you have to like have a certain level of confidence, but also just
like, what if I just end up with like 6 boxes of my own vinyl when I get home? Like, holy shit.
They're big boxes.
Yeah, they're big boxes. They're heavy.
How are you gonna put it?
Yeah, it's a crazy. So I was gonna say, like, with all of this, your career being very long and illustrious, and you've made some moves in there which are really cool. Like, where are you at now, and what do you want from your career now?
I'm gonna stay on the diversity topic of of my career. I'm acting.
Yes,
I've got some really exciting leads on potential Broadway stuff.
This is what I want for Cassadee because her voice is built for 8 shows a week.
I would love nothing more. And here's the thing about Broadway: yes, it's strenuous, but you're not singing the whole time like you are on tour. That's for an hour and a half.
So true. In fact, I don't know about this. People might come for me for this.
Uh-oh.
But I think singing for an hour and a half every night on no sleep on tour is far harder.
I think you're allowed to say that, though, because you've been on Broadway.
That's true, yeah.
So yeah. Okay.
But I didn't sing a lot in the show that I did. So it's like not, I sang like barely a song. So I don't really, I've done 8 shows a week many times where I'm singing a lot.
I mean, just from what I've seen in the shows I've seen, I've not seen every show there is, so I could be wrong here, but you get breaks. You're not jumping around the whole time.
You get to go home into your apartment and go to sleep.
You get to go home and go to sleep. You get to live in New York City, which I fucking love.
Yes.
So yeah, that's the goal. That's
rocks.
where I'm headed. I'm writing for pitch a lot, for
Cool.
other artists a lot, for sync. I've had a few cuts this year, which has been cool to see for like up and coming. Like Glimmers has their new single is I wrote with
You co-wrote
them.
that with them?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love Maggie.
I do too.
She rocks.
She's wonderful.
Yeah.
Natalia Taylor had a song that we wrote together.
Hell yeah.
So what is writing for pitch like? What is that process like? Is that you're writing the song kind of singularly for whatever it could be, and then once it's written, you decide, oh, this isn't necessarily a song for me, or how does that process look like for you?
So I guess for pitch, I mean more for sync. So like commercials, trailers, whatever. And then for the artist cuts, those were actual sessions with the artists.
Okay, cool.
So that I think is always that gives you the best opportunity to get a cut with them, is like they're in the room, they like what I mean, most artists like to co-write their own stuff, so you have a better chance of getting it cut when they're in the room. And I like it too, like I want to be a part of their story, and I feel because I'm an artist, like I can advocate for them in the room if like the producer's pushing for something that they don't like, or
kind of get a good sense of
I can tell when they're like needing some backup. But so that's what it looks like. And then for sync, it's like I don't get these because I don't have a publisher right now, which is kind of nice. Someone else in the session will like get from their publisher a brief for, a Jeep commercial needs this kind of sound, and it'd be like just some random little blurb, and they give us like a reference track, and we listen to it and we say, oh cool, we can
Dude, I just got my first sync in a commercial.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What is it?
Like I literally so my cousin is a musician. He's like folky, like indie folk kind of.
Oh, sick.
And he has a bunch of sync deals, and he called me and he was like, hey, I'm writing this thing for sync, but I need a female vocalist. Like, will you help me with it? So we like worked on something. I tracked the vocals like really quickly. And then like 2 months ago, he called me and he was like, dude, we're in a Cox commercial nationwide. I'm going to Venmo you. I was like, hell yes. Felt so good because it was like so random. And I did it like 6 months prior and I completely forgot about it.
That's
and then
the thing.
I think we did like three. We did like 3 different versions of it. And one of them got that's
I feel like, when you like hit the stride too, it's like, I mean, this is coming from someone who's not had any placements yet, so I just want to be clear here, but like the people that I've written with who literally do this for a living, once those start happening, they just keep happening.
Just keep rolling.
And they do say like they could have songs that have been sitting there for 5 years that all of a sudden get placed, and if you do it the right way, they're kind of timeless, so they work with anything.
Totally.
So keep it going.
I want to keep doing it, especially with him too, because it's so easy.
Yeah.
And like he's a great writer, great producer. So I just track my own little vocals, send them over, and we're good to go.
I honestly, sync has been such it's been so nice because you don't have to think about how am I going to market this? Like, is this the message I want to send? Is this
just write a silly little song
that's like not about your life, or it could be whatever you want, but you don't have to worry about like how am I going to promote this?
It's also kind of good practice.
It is.
Where you're just writing to write something.
Yeah.
Where you're just like bang something out, get it out. Maybe it sucks, maybe it doesn't.
Yeah.
But you don't have to think about it.
It's just a muscle.
Yeah.
It's so smart.
It is a muscle you got to work.
But yeah, that's I think those things are what I'm hoping to do.
I am vying for that Cassadee Pope Broadway debut. It's gonna
fingers
happen.
crossed. 2025, baby.
2025. It's gonna happen. I have no doubt, because there are a few voices that I've seen you like 3 or 4 times now, and every single time she's right on it. I was like, I've never seen you where you sounded anything less than perfect.
What?
Which rocks.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, dude.
You haven't come to enough shows, but thank you.
I know. Same. You're gonna see me when I'm like, don't take any videos.
Yeah, those three shows on this tour I just did were, the third one was always a bit raspy.
Oh, really?
Oh,
I barely believe you, but I'll take your word for it.
Thank you.
She's built for Broadway.
Built for Broadway.
Damn.
Built for the stage.
That's badass.
All right. Well, I think that is pretty much it. Do you have any more questions, Pete?
No, I think we're good. I think we covered the whole gamut.
The whole gamut.
Really appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, we
Thanks
so
for
appreciate having you.
I'm so glad this worked out.
Me too. I literally was going to text you to come to my party, and then I was like, wait, do you want to be on the pod?
Duh. And here we
I
are.
do want to say right before you got here too, Keaton was like, if you told 14-year-old me the Cassadee Pope was going to be on our podcast,
I know.
I actually would have died.
That's so cute.
I know, it's so embarrassing.
You killed it. You're
Thank
such
you.
a pro, both of you. Well done. Well done.
Well, with that has been Glass Slipping for the week.
That's
Thank you so much
Glass
for
Slipping
listening.
for the week. Thank you.
Wee.